Hi, I'm Jalen Rose, and welcome to the Renaissance Man podcast, proudly presented by the New York Post, a show where we cover trends in fashion, entertainment, current events, and everything in between. This next episode is a family affair. It's a family affair. These guys are my brothers from another mother. And you can't talk about Hip Hop 50 without talking about these two gentlemen, KayGee and Vin Rock. They're members of one of the most iconic, Grammy-winning hip-hop groups in the history of the game. And that's right, I said it, they took hard-edge rap music to mainstream, where you're now actually hearing it in NBA arenas and during football games. Back in the day, we only could hear Whoop, There It Is, or Montel Jordan, This Is How We Do It, before songs like OPP and Hip Hop Parade came out. They're recently now celebrating the 30th anniversary of their triple platinum LP, 1993. And with 4 albums spanning in the 1990s, their music is truly a sound of that decade. It is my honor to welcome my brothers, Vin Rock and DJ KayGee, to the Renaissance Man podcast. What up, though, fellas?
What up? Hey, bro, what up, my brother?
Yes, up? Sir. This means everything to me that you guys took the time. And you guys know I'm family and I'm huge fans, but I'm going to ask questions like I don't know anything. So I have to ask, and I guess I'll start with you, KayGee. East Orange, New Jersey is where it all began.
Yes.
Tell me about when you guys met in high school and what your lives were like during that time.
Man, we met in high school and man, it was... You said, actually, we got started as a group and doing music during my junior year in high school. So that was 1986. I graduated in 87. So, yeah, in 86. But at the time, man, we were on the block, honestly. We were on the block. Yeah. We were on the block, but at the same time, we were in school. So that was one thing. That's how we try to balance it out. We made sure we went to school and we kept our parents off our behind, doing a little sneaky stuff on the side after school and then whatever, but we made sure we were in school. And that's how we linked up in school. Me and all three of us come from East Orange, me, Vin, and Tretch. But Tretch comes from a different side of the town of East Orange. So it was 2 high schools at the time in East Orange. So it split the city up. So with like middle school and elementary schools, everybody went to the closest school to their blocks. So me and Vin, like I said, I lived on 18th Street, Vin lived on 15th Street. So me and Vin went to school, the same schools all the way up. And our family knew each other because he has older sisters and brothers, and I have an older brother and sister. So, we knew each other for a while. But when we got to high school, and like I said, it got to my junior year, I wanted to do something in a talent show, to be a part of it. And actually the talent, we met up and started linking and doing stuff, but I think, no, it was actually the senior talent show that I did that. Yeah.
Wow.
It was actually the senior talent show. I'm bugging. That's been a long time. It was the senior talent show in 87 that I got with Vin and said, hey man, like, why don't you beatbox with me? Cause I used to DJ across the street from I had a guy that lived across the street from me. And it's funny, like, there's a lot of things that's going to Jabril Pepper's father from Michigan.
Wow, really?
Yeah. He's an East Orange guy. Yes, Jabril. We know Jabril from a baby. Jabril, and Jabril's born on 18th Street.
On 18th Street, yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So I grew up with Jabril Pepper's father, Terry Ski Peppers. And I lived right across the street from him. So I would DJ during the day out my sun porch. Then would breakdance with Ski. And open all those guys. So I was the soundtrack to them breakdancing.
Wow.
So I would call Vin over sometime, he would beatbox. And when it came time, once again, for that senior talent show, I said, Vin, why don't you beatbox with me? Because I don't want to do the regular DJ thing. So he was like, cool. So as we started rehearsing and putting the show together, we both realized we needed an MC. And Vince said, I have the perfect guy, this guy named Tiny that's in my health class. And you could take it from there. Man.
Wow.
For him to get fresh crew after that.
Yeah, so when he brought me Tiny, Tiny eventually became Tiny T. And then it became Double T, Treachery. And that's where you get the evolution of the name Tretch, because it started off as Tiny T, Double T, which was Tiny T, Double T, Treachery, and then it just shortened down to Tretch.
Wow, that's dope. So Vin Rock, I have to ask you, so you were beatboxing, you guys were breakdancing. Take me back to 1987. Who were the inspirations and what were some of the moves you was doing?
I was good for a backspin. Backspin, windmills. I had a head spin, you know. So the New York City Breakers, Crazy Legs, all of those guys were inspirations. Beatboxing wise, of course, it was Dougie Fresh, the Skinny Boys, Buffy and them from the Fat Boys. So, you know, man, those were the beautiful days of hip hop, and you just loved it because of the art and creativity of it.
Absolutely.
Too, Vin, you did have an ill backspin, though.
Slick.
Yeah.
And see, you named a lot of guys that, being a Detroiter, we got introduced to hip hop a lot of times through movies, through Beat Street, through Wild Style. Right. And so like Lee's backspin to me was like smooth and crazy. And Crazy Legs when he took off his shoes and he stood up after he did his windmills and how he hit them. So who was inspiring you guys? And I'll start with you, KayGee. Take me back to 1987. We celebrating 50 years of hip hop. Like, who were some of the people that you guys looked at and admired as it related to rap music and the culture?
I got to go back to what you just mentioned. You just touched on it. It was Wild Style, man. It was Wild Style. And that movie, seeing that movie Wild Style and watching that and watching Flash in the kitchen, you know, cutting and scratching, and even Beat Street and all that. Beat Street just took it further once I seen that. And even the movie Breaking, like you said, even though we were here, you know, in New Jersey, you know, it started in New York. So we're right outside of New York, but we're not New York. So it's the same thing even with us. We were watching the culture and seeing it grow from the outside as well. So it was definitely, you know, things like Wild Style that brought me into it. And when you say musically, as it started, you know, going on, you got to say Run DMC for us, man. Like, honestly, man, because, and that's, think about it. I mean, it's 2 MCs and Run DMC and 1 DJ. And that's the same way how we run our thing, man. And everything about them, man. We just pattern ourselves after Run DMC.
Yeah, yeah. And then you had Dougie Fresh and the Get Fresh crew. Again, the Fat Boys, the whole Crush era. The girls was representing, you know, Salt and Pepper, Roxanne Shante, the whole crew with Biz Markie and Big Daddy Kane and Marley Marl and all of those guys. It was an incredible time back then, man. Thank God for hip hop.
And not too far after that, you guys took the industry by storm and started making game-changing anthems, game-changing songs, game-changing chants. When did you guys begin to realize that this group, Naughty by Nature, would be something special?
It took us a minute, man, because we started off, like I said, we started in 87 in high school, and we didn't even have a name when we did that talent show because we had just formed the group. And when we did the talent show, I just scratched in, "It's the new style." So from there, you know, we just start calling ourselves the new style. But as we started going along, we started doing a bunch of talent shows and doing all of that stuff. And it evolved, and we started killing talent shows and doing everything. And then as we were doing that and rocking parties, man, and changing the landscape of even how they judge the parties, you know, tear these parties down, and the crowd would judge it, and they felt like we were bringing our own crowd. So they said, oh, let's bring in celebrities to judge it. That's how we met Queen Latifah, Mark the 45 King, Biz Markie, those guys. And then as we went along, we started putting together these records as the new style. We put a project out under the new style, the group, the new style. It didn't work. And after that, we became Naughty by Nature. And we took it from there. And once we started going, it was on.
Yeah, and back in the day, you know, before we had records on the radio and videos playing on TV, that's all you had was the party scene. So you had to go in these clubs and rock. And hip hop has always been interactive. Say ho, yes, yes, sure. Throw your hands in the air. So once we were able to master that in the club scene, as we got in the studio and started recording, we always wanted to kind of transfer that live element, that party rocking element into the record. So that's how we come up with the anthems, the call and response, the crowd participation on our songs.
And also the marketing, the promotions of the gear. We see a lot of different artists now being able to profit off of more than just their records. You guys had hoodies, had hats. Y'all sent me multiple hoodies to wear during the Final Four. You guys were the first group that were able and had the vision to actually realize that not only can we make hit records and win Grammys and be on the radio and rock the party, but we're influencers.
Exactly.
As artists, when did you guys realize that this is something that we need to take advantage of?
Well, again, in hip hop back in the day, in its infancy, you always had your crew and you always had your posse. So you wore the name of your crew on your baseball caps. You had airbrush T-shirts to represent your crew and hoodies. So that's how people identified you. So merchandising and branding has always been a part of hip hop in its infancy. But once these records started coming out and the artists began to blow up, you know, just like you guys, I watched your documentary when you guys were in college. You guys were worldwide, world famous. They're selling your merchandise and you don't make a dime. Well, hip hop was the same way, where a lot of these brands would come along and say, I'll give you free goods. I'll give you free goods. As a matter of fact, let's do a poster and let me put it up on Foot Locker. But when you say, yo, let's do a real deal. Let's do an apparel branding deal. Oh, no, we only do that with athletes, this, that, and the other. And we realized that we were being used, or they tried to use us, and it always made us go back to the table and say, you know what, we can invest in ourselves. We've always invested in ourselves from the new style. And when we had Naughty by Nature, it just transferred over, and we said, you know what, before you guys play us out and continue to disrespect us as hip hop or rap artists, we'll invest in ourselves. And that's what made us put up our own retail store. And it was, you know, the rest was history. And a lot of our peers took notice, because we'd always roll deep, always roll uniform and organized. The fans loved it, and the industry caught wind of it.
And as you guys know, not only do I love you guys as human beings, but I'm a fan. And I looked up to you guys in so many different ways. And you guys showing us love and embracing us and loving sports the way you guys did made a huge impact on how we played, how we dressed, how we moved. I remember coming to the KayGee barbecue multiple times for your birthday, with the basketball court, hanging out with the fam, eating good, living good, and really like showing us how family moves. I have one of my favorite pictures of all time, and I put this picture in my book with the entire crew. I looked up to Marcus Liberty. Y'all had him there. He had the V's in his head. I had my hair cut like his. You know what I'm saying? Latifah, Shaquem, Trigger, C-Web. It was so many people that went on to become influencers in their own right. From a marketing and branding and a family standpoint, and I'll start with you, KayGee, when did you realize that we're going to make this bigger than just music?
It was always kind of like that from the beginning, man. Like, to be honest, it started with the music, but we've always sat on the phone many a nights, late nights, just strategizing, like trying to figure out everything. We started off as students in the game. We remain students of the game. And
Flavor Unit too.
Flavor Unit helped us out as well. Yeah, Flavor Unit helped us tremendously along the way. everything, you know, making sure that everything was correct and on straight and narrow for us. But from the beginning, we've always said, you know what, we want to be in control, or at least have our hands in our business, and understanding across the board, any and everything, any opportunity that we have, we want to understand. We're not just signing anything. We're not giving accountants, you know, this autonomy or power to do whatever they want to do for us. We want to understand and know. We want to take the bumps and bruises ourselves. So down the line, we can't blame anybody for any mistakes or anything that go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Just wanted to be a part of everything.
And, you know, we have Flavor Unit too, Flavor Unit Management. So Queen Latifah, she was already established in the game, signed to Tommy Boy Records, and she already began dabbling into film, television and film. So when we got with Flavor Unit, we realized like, whoa, not only is she a recording artist, but she is an actress. And then, you know, they identified, and the people identified Tretch as a star. So they started sending him out on acting gigs. We had the merchandise. Kay began producing other artists. And then that's when we came up and said, yo, we have 3 different companies here. We have a record label, Illtown Records. We have Illtown Films, which Tretch was running. And then we had the Naughty Gear store. And the mission was we would use that like our own Disney store, right? So no matter what we do as Naughty by Nature, all of that merch will be there. When we produce other artists and break them, that merch will be there. When we do television and film projects, you know, that paraphernalia and merch will be there. So, you know, that's when we realized, you know what, we have something here. We have 3 different verticals, and we just got to work to push them out.
When did you guys know that the queen, Latifah, not only loved you guys as artists and as people, but when did you guys realize like this is family, like she's investing in us? Please give me your initial impression of Queen Latifah, and or like a great story where you guys realized that, you know, this relationship is going to be something for life.
Yeah. I mean, I guess from day one, man, like when we first.
No, you remember we saw her in front of Roy Rogers that time when you had that high top fade and it ran down like, was like, guys, you know? Back then, Big Daddy Kane and Kid from Kid and Play, you know, they were known for the high tops. And Kid was known for the highest high top. KayGee used to terrorize them, because if you look on our new style out, they had the flyest fade in the New York tri-state area, yo. And cats used to get mad, yo. Yeah. But we met with, you know, Queen Latifah initially when we were the new style, and she was already, her record just came out, Princess of the Posse. Yeah. And we met her in front of a Roy Rogers chicken restaurant right on Central Avenue, and we were telling her about us. And then next thing you know, we invited all of Flavor Unit to a gymnasium, Upsala Gym. And we put on our own show, gave them our demo, and that's when Shakim and Latifah was putting together Flavor Unit Management. Wow. Queen was like that. And it was perfect timing because they had just started the label, I mean, the management company, and we were the first artists, new style. And then we had to switch our name to Naughty by Nature. But that's when we knew they were in, because we were the first artists signed to Flavor Unit Management.
Yeah. And it's still like much love and respect for her, man. Even to this day, everybody that's close to her, and we're close to her, everybody call her Dana. And me personally, to this day, I can't call her Dana. I still call La. I say La. I still call her La, because it's just like, it's kind of like a star thing to still for her to me. No like I just can't. It's almost like I just can't.
She's a queen. That girl radiates. I call her Queen. Hey, Queenie. And it is. I mean, come on, Jay. It's like in Africa, these people you put up and they're in position of power, they're kings and queens. Some people radiate that energy. So although it's not a formal title, you know, and we don't have that standard here in America, when you look at Queen Latifah, her aura, she radiates that queen energy. So it was God sent that she ended up changing her name to Queen Latifah, or that was her energy, but it was very fitting for her.
That's dope. And I'm so very grateful, because one of the things I take pride in is not only is this 30 years of 1993, but I'm so very fortunate that you guys gave me a platinum plaque. that I have hanging in my house to this
yeah.
day, like
Yeah.
Deontay Wilder. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And that is legendary. And I always was so very gracious. And you guys know I ain't here for no got you media stuff, but there's something here that reminds me of the Fab Five, is that it seems four of us can link up, but we still trying to reel our brother C-Webb in.
Yeah.
And we still love him. No shots, no shade. Whatever, is bubbling is bubbling. Hopefully we can figure a way to be in the same place at the same time and be sitting courtside while Jawan coaching the team. Like that's one of my goals. Yeah. So I have to ask, because you guys know the world wants to know. I'm interviewing KayGee. I'm interviewing Vin Rock. There are three people in the group.
Yes.
Why is Tretch not interviewing as it relates to celebrating 30 years?
Right. Well, as of right now, Tretch is, he's doing his thing. He's doing his thing. He's acting. He's doing a play, and he's acting. And at the moment, he wants to, have his space and do him at the moment. One day, like you said, same thing with the Fab Five. One day, and it's open arms. It's open arms. It's love. Same thing, but at this moment, he's doing his own thing, and he wants to act. He don't want to do music at this point. But one day, he will come back. He is our brother. He will come back, and we will all, take it back to the stage again, with the 3-man threat. But right now, he's doing his own thing.
And I think it's a thing where, like we spoke about, we've been together as a group literally since we were like 16, 17 years old, My son from 52 years old this year. So when we look back, we realize, what? We were child stars, man. And we really dedicated all of our lives to each other. And even when I look back now, I'm like, wow, I spent all of this time in this bubble. And although we've been super blessed, sometimes at a point, even what you do as a sports athlete, a veteran now, you're like, wow, once I finish playing, then I get a chance to fall back and really get to know myself. What do I do? What are my other interests? What are my other talents? And sometimes you want to take the time to figure that out. So it's not necessarily personal with your brothers. It's just a soul searching kind of thing, And I think all three of us go through that.
Yeah. And I got to say too, like, shoot, Ben might have been the only one that hasn't left. I mean, there was a time that I left Naughty by Nature. I left for 10 years. Yes. I left for like 10 years. So
please elaborate.
Yeah, I what was like 99, like around 2000, I left and came back, like 2010.
2010,
11.
Wow.
Yeah, I left. But the same thing, I needed space. I needed to figure out what I wanted to do. And I came back. So, I feel the same way with Tretch. Is, he's taking his time away and doing what he got to do. And he'll come back just like I did.
Hey, Jay, then it's my turn, yo.
No, Vin. No, Vin.
Let me take a break, too.
No, Vin. You the anchor, OG. We need that backspin for life, family. No, we can't have you take, no, you had your chance. It's too late, dog. We don't need that.
Month. Only for a week, though, Jay. I'll be right back, though.
No doubt. And that leads to actually my next question, because being multimedia conglomerates like you guys are, brand ambassadors, DJ, graffiti, you guys embody what hip hop represents. But what people don't talk about enough are the sacrifices and the setbacks that you have to experience to order to get to the top. So I'll start with you, Vin Rock. What are some of the setbacks and or sacrifices that help get you to this point?
Well, I think for one, we risked our lives on the streets, just financing our dreams and financing our goals. I mean, and we did it all. So from being in the streets to working 9-to-5s to going to schools, all of those sacrifices. And then once we did make it, so-called make it, we were on the road a lot, and it's wear and tear on your family. It's wear and tear on personal relationships. And really have to pay attention to what's happening home, or else you won't have a happy life. So we did have to sacrifice that. I mean, hey, success in itself, more money, more problems, a lot of good friendships, childhood friendships, even family relationships, they get challenged in those times.
Yes.
I mean, things can get physical, things can get personal, things get financial. So, it's a price to pay. I mean, you're blessed enough to realize it as well. But at the end of the day, you have to protect your sanity, your mental space. And if it means some people can't be around, then so be it. But that's part of the sacrifice.
Yeah. Yeah, same here, man. Like going through all of this and starting off, like, and even, with all of us, we come from big families, man. And then even extended families, like the homies and where we come from and everything. There's a lot of extended people that's always been around us from day one. And then on top of that, you got to deal with outside energy and different people that come into your life. You got managers, you got all kinds of attorneys, all different people that come into your life, or a guy that figure they can do better for you than somebody else that's doing for you. And you gotta, be able to deal with those challenges that come into your life as the success is drawing up and as it's coming up. So we've had to deal with all of that, man, and it's cost us a bit. It continues to
cost us a lot.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm sure. I'm downplaying it a little bit, but it definitely cost us a lot, from internal fighting to all kinds of stuff, man. That just, it cost us, like you mentioned earlier when you started off, only putting out 4 albums. We should have put out at least 10 of them, to be honest. Yes. We should have put out at least 10 of them, and it cost us that.
And like, as much as you guys have given us the songs, the bars, the style, the fashion, the flavor, and the family. Like, when we saw y'all, like, I carry a bat on Jalen and Jacoby because of being around Naughty.
Right.
Literally, like, y'all showed us that everything from head to toe can sound and sell. But also, you guys had a great eye for talent and other groups that you tried to cultivate, other artists. So can you acknowledge some of the people that, as Naughty by Nature, that you guys mentored, and the influences you guys have had on some of the people as artists that have come into your lives and careers?
Yeah, man. I mean, me personally, as the main producer of Naughty by Nature, I mean, I was able to, develop and discover artists out there, groups like Janae, to produce them, develop them, Next, Coffee Brown, Jaheim, a bunch of different artists. And then, even working strongly on, some of the biggest records that Queen Latifah had. So even, working to outside forces, even working with, getting a chance to work with Will Smith,
Luther Vandross.
Wow.
Yeah, Yolanda Adams, all kinds of people like that, man. I had opportunity, Aaliyah, all kinds of people to get, those opportunities to get in. But, it's the biggest and the greatest joy of all, man. Because at the end of the day, man, like, this is what we wanted to do. We wanted to get into this game, and once we got into this game, it was not only no looking back, but it was like, let's put our best foot forward and let's just try to make this thing work. And like we talked about, we had ups and downs, but overall, man, like, we can't really sit here and complain about anything, man, because it was so hard getting into this. And then we were blessed to even get the opportunities and run into the right people, man.
You guys have been international with your talent. So I have to ask each of you, your most memorable concert or tour. Who was on the menu? Who else was on the stage? Like, where were you? Your most memorable tour and or a concert. I'm gonna start with you, Vin Rock. You've been on tour. Y'all done been on thousands of tours and shows.
Right.
Like, so tell me your most memorable show, tour, concert. Bill, tell me.
Well, I remember we went to Australia first, right? We were red hot here in America, but we went to Australia and it was a Cool Naughty Pain tour. So it was a Tommy Boy Records tour. It was Coolio, Naughty by Nature, and House of Pain. House of Pain had Jump Around and they were really hot, but Naughty was coming through with something different. And I think Coolio headlining? Or House of Pain headlining. House of Pain was headlining, but
it's Cool Naughty Pain, y'all.
Yeah. So since we were the New Jacks, we went on first. Coolio was after us. We blazed that stage so crazy over there in Australia that Coolio, rest his soul, rest in peace to our homeboy Coolio. He came to us and was like, "Yo, we have to switch, man. I got to you guys because I can't handle what y'all got." We had a big backdrop. We came with merchandise and branded out. It was just too much. So that was one of our first major tours overseas. And, you know, again, it's like Will Smith, The Pursuit of Happiness. So from the new style, from being in high school, all we had on were blinders. We weren't, you know, taking notes, getting, you know, we did good here, we did good there. We were just blazing through shows. So I didn't realize we steamrolled through that tour, man. And that's when I knew. I was like, oh boy, we got something different here.
Yeah. And for me, you know, especially that wow, the oh wow moment for me. And when we knew that, well, at least me, that this was getting crazy when we went to Canada. I remember at the in-store in Canada?
Yeah, at the record store.
We went to do an in-store at the record store in the mall, and it was, I don't know how many people in there. They shut the place down. And that's when we realized also too that their cops were called OPP as well.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it was so sick. Yes, it was so sick. And it was just amazing, man. Like I said, man, like and this was early in our career too. This was in 91, as soon as we came out.
Right.
And this was in Canada. And we're talking about, man, our first time in Canada. And it's like this, we're sitting there looking at each other like, huh?
It's a riot.
Another one, J. Rose too. And I'm gonna take this one to your backyard. Craziness. I remember the first time we did a show at Joe Louis Arena.
Let's go. Let's go.
And the D.
That's what I was waiting to hear because I was standing up. I was there.
It was the craziest show. And in the middle of it, it was the craziest fight. It was like it broke out. It was like the whole arena was fighting. Cheers was getting thrown. Yeah. Man, it was.
We were still rocking all the way out through.
It was wild up in there. That's when I first realized.
Yeah,
this was 91. I think it had to be 91,
92.
I was like, man, the D is wild.
Yes, and so just so you guys know, not only was I at that show, I was at the NWA show too. When they weren't supposed to sing the police,
wow.
Did it anyway, and the police allegedly lit firecrackers and set off the show. Then, we used to I caught the Finkel bus to come see y'all show. People from the D, y'all know what I'm talking about. So I have to ask you this, and this kind of what set it off, to be honest. Now people are jumping into the crowd or getting hyped or bumping into each other. It's because you guys had anthems. So I know you guys have two brains, but I want you to try to function as one. Please tell me, you guys, besides your songs, your top 5 anthems. Y'all mentioned so many groups. Y'all mentioned so many. Y'all are historians of the game. But songs that y'all are like, that's an anthem. Give me your top 5.
I'm not going to put in any order. I definitely know one of them. One of them is The Message.
I would say another one is Rob Bass, It Takes Two.
Yes.
Great one.
I would say another one is 50 Cent, In the Club.
Ooh.
There you go.
I'm gonna put Push It in there.
Ooh.
And I will put Party Up by DMX.
Yeah.
Ooh. These guys
is that 5?
Yeah, y'all legends and students. So I have to ask you guys, because you guys have seen the music industry change so much from you know, basically selling records out of the trunk to artists being independent. But the art has changed a lot. Like technology has changed a lot. You went from having beepers to iPhones. Right. So what are your hopes for the new generation of hip hop artists today?
I would say my biggest hope is for them to curb the violence. You know, I think a lot of this drill rap and a lot of this gang rapping in the music, it really took the culture from being a real conscious music, conscious bass music, to being like bringing in the streets and bringing in the violence. But our kids have to be far more conscious of the fact that the feds are watching you, they're watching your social media, and they're literally watching you destroy yourselves. And then with these kids out here, now you know people or your peers are being compromised. So you do have confidential informants working against you and working against your chances of succeeding in whatever you're doing. So now you have all of these RICO cases taking crews out 20, 30 in a clip. So switch for our young people to be conscious of it, be more wise. You got to figure out a more peaceful way of expressing yourself, and the culture will continue to thrive.
Well said.
Ditto.
Well said. Wow, that's that. Now that is a bar, Vin Rock, for sure. And youngsters, I hope y'all picking up with these OGs is putting down. This is 30 years in the game. They done won all of the awards. They done rocked all of the shows. And all of your people who have now got into this industry been influenced by Naughty, by Nature. But before I let y'all get out of here, I got a rapid fire segment called Gone in 60 Seconds. Y'all ready to do this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you guys can pick and choose who go first, kind of like Family Feud. Okay. Of your many albums and singles, and it's so many albums, so many hits, so many singles. Y'all won awards and been on the stage with Suited and Booted. What would you say you're most proudest of?
I'm going to say OPP first, my oldest child.
I would say Hip Hop Hooray because it gave props to all the people in hip hop who came before us. I consider it the unofficial hip hop anthem.
And what do you guys feel when a movie like Sister Act 2 and it's Whoopi Goldberg and all of a sudden they're singing your record in the movie when you're watching the movie? How does that make you feel when you first see it?
Fall out. Fall out and once again celebrating 50 years of hip hop. Look, you know, looking and just feel how far hip hop has come when you see things like that, man. And then ultimately for it to be us, man, couldn't be a bigger joy.
Yeah, and another one is seeing Leo DiCaprio on the tip of the boat doing Hip Hop Hooray and Wolf of Wall Street. Crazy period piece, and it's a very classic film. So to see our music in that scene is like, we really mean something to pop culture.
That's dope. That's dope. And shout to Lauryn Hill too. Yes. What is your favorite album cover?
Of our albums?
Yes, of your albums.
I would probably say Poverty's Paradise, me personally. That one was shot in my basement, my old house, 18th Street in the basement. So that brings me back home to where I grew up. So I got to say Poverty's Paradise.
And I would say the first album, Naughty by Nature, the self-titled album, because that's where it all began. I had on Reebok pump sneakers then too.
Classic throwback pumps. Woo, you got to be able to hold on to them things. Somebody might try to take them from you, Vin Rock.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So how about this? And we mentioned Leonardo DiCaprio. We remember so many celebrities, but there's somebody else. Rita Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
Went viral, also rapping Hip Hop Hooray a few years ago. So I have to ask, what celebrity do you guys believe would be a great rapper?
Be a great rapper.
See, celebs, y'all got to get y'all game up. That's why I don't be trying to rap.
Well, you know what? I would say Will Smith.
Great answer. Great answer.
Will Smith,
Right, because
Queen Latifah.
Well, because Fresh Prince is a whole different person than Will Smith.
Yeah.
Right? Yes.
Exactly.
So what is you guys' favorite marketing campaign?
That's a good one.
Yes. Yes. Y'all had a lot of great marketing campaigns. We copied a lot of what y'all have done.
Well, you know, I think one of the brilliant ones was Shock G and Humpty Dance, because Shock G was a producer and a real person. Then he had his alter ego, the Humpty Dance with the nose, and he had the whole dance. That was a great marketing campaign to set up Digital Underground. So shout out Tommy Boy Records, Monica Lynch, and Tom Silverman.
Yeah.
That's
I would say like basically a lot of what Tommy Boy did for all of us, man. You know, for
Queen
for
Latifah,
for Latifah,
De La Soul,
for De La Soul.
Yep.
Rest in peace, Dave.
No doubt. No doubt.
What they did with us, with the OPP stickers and everything, you know, Tommy Boy, marketing wise, like Tommy Boy is the top of the list.
Yeah.
No doubt. Shout out to Tommy Boy. And last but certainly not least, who is an artist from today who has the skills that impress Vin Rock, that impress KayGee?
Oh, two of my favorite today, I can see them going as long as they want, are Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole. Those boys, hands down, are dope. And I got to give it up to Drake. Drake is smart. He's so diverse. He mixes in different music genres. He could sing. He could rap. I mean, look, he could do it all. So I like those three guys the best.
Yeah. Same here. Yep. I was going to say Drake and J. Cole. Yep.
And I got a bonus question. I'm sorry, I was about to get out of here. KayGee, I got to ask you, and Vin Rock, please chime in, because I know KayGee, producer, DJ extraordinaire. Who are your favorite DJs?
Whoa, Jazzy Jeff, number one.
Ooh.
That's my guy. Like, that's the GOAT right there. Jazzy Jeff's the GOAT. DJ Scratch is crazy. He's sick. I love the party rocker Kid Capri, my man. He rocks parties like no other.
And I gotta give it up to my favorite DJ, Jam Master Jay from Run. Rest in peace, big bro.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Rest in peace, JMJ. I love you, brothers. Congratulations. 30 years in the game, still rocking the parties, still doing shows, still making hits, still being legends. I appreciate you guys. Looking forward to breaking bread soon.
Yes.
All right. Peace, Dave. We got you.
Much love,
yes, indeed. Love is love.